Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3 Under Par podcast. This is a golf podcast where
Little White Ball is life.
I'm your host, ScottyTee, and I'm joined by my co-host, T-Bone, in the other screen. How you doing, my man?
Not too bad, not too bad.
So
Ready to roll.
I'm going to take your advice last week to heart and call you T-Bone the whole time instead of a first or last name. I hope you appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that it didn't feel right. I wanted to call you out on it earlier in the episode, and you were kind of going back and forth, but glad we got that squared away for this episode.
Yeah, me too. So we got that cleared up, so we're all good. But so to lay out the episode, we're going to talk some match play. Man, it really made me think. I'm so sad this is the last time that match play is going to be played, at least for the foreseeable future until something else comes up. And then we're going to give you some golf gossip and then some top 5. Last week, we brought you the best private courses in the city of Houston. This week, we're going to do the top 5 public golf courses in the city of Houston because we are, I feel like, part of the Common Man Golf. So we got to show love to the common public golf courses in the city of Houston. So T-Bone, I feel like it's very appropriate that you are wearing your HOU hat today.
Perfect. Yeah. I think you and me both love when we get the opportunity to do get on a private course. Honestly, I don't think you play unless you can get on a private course, but you also play at this point once every 6 months or so. You're on mute.
I am on mute. So look, we host a golf podcast, and I am so embarrassed to say this. This might be the longest I've ever gone playing golf in my entire life. I have yet to play 1 round of golf this year. You heard that correctly. I have not played a single round of golf this year. My schedule's just not really permitting at the moment, honestly. I guess that's an excuse, but look, I'm not going to bore the listeners. You know what's going on. There's just it's a lot of things in motion right now.
I mean, it's
for the next year or so.
Being a father in grad school and work, I'm only doing one of those 3. So, and not to rub it in, but this top 5 is very fitting for me because I was actually able to play a public and private course this Saturday. Got 36 in. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah. So
you sandbagging son of a bitch. Look at you.
And you're gonna be even more pissed when you realize where I played. But I actually am curious to know. So first round went to one of the regular stops, unfortunately, out at Herman Park. The crime scene and caution tape was cleared up. So
that's good to hear.
And I actually played with my dad and fellow or frequent listener, Mr. Tolson, but I haven't played with my dad in a while. And he just doesn't get out on the course a lot, but hit some bad shots, hit some good shots. But on 15 at Herman, he's got an approach shot, clear the water, skips it about 8 times over the water into the bank, and it's sitting up a little bit. And he was insistent on playing it from the water. And after he did it, we were just saying, for the love of God, we hope this wasn't the pond that the body was in. But yeah, not to be what's the word I'm looking for?
Or
I don't know.
Anyway,
unsensitive about this murder, but we're also just hoping that wasn't the pond. But anyways, we're about 8 holes in to Herman, and Mr. Tolson got the text Lochinvar at 2:30. So packed up the clubs, headed to Lochinvar, and then I was curious to know: do you think any person in the history of life has played Herman Park and Lochinvar on the same day?
I mean, you want to talk about a tale of 2 cities? That is quite literally the tale of 2 cities.
That was the number 1 pick on the private top 5, and we'll see if Herman makes either one of our top 5s for the public course today. It'll be close, but
I'm going to go on a limb and say no.
I think so. I don't think so either. I think half the members at Lochinvar don't know what Herman Park is.
Unless they saw it on the news this week.
Yeah.
That's the only way. But Yeah. So, okay. Well, all that being said, we're excited to bring you some public golf courses. I mean, T-Bone, I can't get over that still. That is outrageous. That is a great story. I appreciate
Yep.
that. So,
Yep.
yeah, as we mentioned, let's dive into some match play. Fantastic week. I mean, Austin Country Club, phenomenal venue. Scores were low, birdies were out there. It's weird because you can't see the scores per se because they're either doing one up, two up. But I heard, who was it? Cameron Young won 9 on the front nine, shot 27. He had 9 threes.
I want to say it was his first 9 with Paul Tesori on the bag.
Phenomenal. It really was. So, which,
Tesori
by the way,
Tesorio.
I know we talked about that last week. How Paul Tesori is now on the young or is now on the bag for Cameron Young. Also worth noting, this is before we revamped the pod. Ted Scott is now on the bag for Scotty Scheffler, who was on the bag for Bubba Watson. So it's almost like these seasoned caddies. I heard maybe it was Dan Rappaport from Foreplay was like these caddies traded in the old horses for the young guns and are now on the bag for some winning or for some really good players and some winning scores here. So it's really good to see for the caddies to show some caddies some love.
Yeah, I think, Ted Scott specifically, I think he's made close to 4 million since getting on Scotty's bag in what, a year and a half or so.
I mean,
That's
that's just like if you switch companies and you get a massive pay raise, right? Like
yeah,
that's good for you, man. That's a good capitalist move, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But all that being said, there were some surprises I think that came out of each group play, even some early shocking victories, like Ricky Fowler beating John Rahm. Did not see that coming. John Rahm not coming out of group play, which he was on absolute fire at the beginning of this season. I don't know if he's cooling off a bit. I mean, obviously, golf, you have your ups and your downs. And as all the professional golfers know, when you're hot, you got to have those top 5 finishes in a row because if you have a good month on tour, that's going to make your year, especially for the guys who are really hanging around that 100 to 125 range because the margin for error is so small. But so that was kind of surprising. Mackenzie Hughes making out a group play and winning a match as well. So shout out to Mackenzie Hughes on a good week. But man, that Sam Burns and Scotty Scheffler match in the semifinals. Hey, do you know they're friends, by the way? Do you know they know each other? Anyway, didn't want to drive that home too much, but because the broadcast did that for you. That was a great match, going extra holes. Even the Cameron Young, Rory McIlroy. NBC was like, please let it be a Scheffler and McIlroy
Oh
final.
yeah.
Ends up being Cam Young and Sam Burns, and then Sam Burns comes away with the convincing victory. A match play, phenomenal week. Again, sad to see it go. They have to keep it on the schedule at some point, or they have to bring it back soon. Like if you're going to have a transition year, I get it. And we talked about it briefly, but it's from the broadcast perspective, it's tough because there's just not players on the golf course, right? You have an entire, 6-hour long broadcast or whatever with only 4 people on the course for the last day when most people watch golf on Sundays. So that's kind of tough, but I think it's a phenomenal product on the course. And especially for avid golf fans, they really need to try to keep it back. And I hope they do bring it back soon.
For sure. I feel pretty confident match play is going to come back. It sounds like Austin Country Club is done for though. I've heard a lot of the members are basically shutting down the course for, you know, 5 months or so, and that's got to be one of the more exclusive clubs out there. I think what 15-year wait list, shelling out tons of cash. So
Yeah.
I was surprised when it first started hosting there, but I think enough people like match play enough to where someone's going to step up. Just throwing this out there. We got an open week next year. Houston could maybe move up. We can maybe take over the match play. Granted, I don't know if I love Memorial Park for a match play tournament, but if we don't get the match play, that'd be cool if we move up also, not to get too off topic. But overall, I do feel confident match play is going to come back. Sounds like Austin Country Club's kind of done for though. But overall, I think you were, you know, the so Fortunately, I'm almost golfed out, believe it or not. I played 36 on Saturday, and then I basically watched 36 on Sunday. And the the semifinal matches were so good that I almost was, content with the finals being kind of a dud. But yeah, just a lot of really good golf. I think no one was really expecting um, Burns or Cam Young to win those matches, especially Scotty on the second playoff hole, missing what, a 3.5 footer.
That's tough.
And yeah, Rory having the lead going into 18. So, and speaking of Rory on 18, I think we saw the shot of the year during group play with Rory almost holing out from 375 yards and into
Incredible.
4 feet. It's
Jeez.
so awesome.
Which is
Which,
which is ironic because you know who came out again or in favor of the rollback
yeah,
of the golf ball was Roy McIlroy. He's freaking
yeah,
out there driving greens. I saw so many golf comments. This is when golf Twitter is an amazing place. They're like, "Oh, this isn't
yeah,
entertaining at all. This sucks. What are we doing here?" It's like I get from the
yeah,
golf purist perspective that yes, that's not true golf. Like if it's a 350-yard par three, you're not necessarily supposed to drive it, even if you're a professional. But damn it, if
yeah.
that's not entertaining.
That was so awesome. It reminded me of that Dustin Johnson drive a few years ago in Hawaii where he hits it to like an edge. But
Definitely.
I mean, I remember those shots because they're awesome. But
Exactly.
I don't know if that shot though helps or hurts the argument of the rollback because it's absurd, but it's awesome. So
I
a
think
bit
it's one of
torn there, a
those,
bit torn.
it probably drives the golf governing bodies crazy. But look at those Twitter impressions. Check your social media out or outreach
Yeah,
on a shot like that. And then you're gonna like it.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Um, But yeah, I think overall though, match play is awesome. I think someone's going to step up and bring it back. I hope it's not like a bottom tier tournament. Like what is like? I wouldn't want it to be the equivalent of what's the Louisiana tournament where it's the team. I
Zurich.
can't remember what course it Zurich.
Yeah, it's at
That's a
TPC New
really
Orleans.
exciting format because we really get team stuff. But I think the course and the time of schedule, you never get that many big names. It doesn't really do it for me. So I think match play is cooler than team, but overall, I don't want it to kind of lose its steam. It's still got to have some oomph to it. Got to be a good course and not just kind of a John Deere. Couldn't have like a John Deere match play. I don't know if that'd do it for me, but
Be careful now.
oh
The unofficial fifth major. John Deere.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
But overall, hell of a week. Hell of a week. I think Sam Burns was really close to falling off, and now it's like, okay, he you got to beat some good golfers,
Yeah.
including Scotty Scheffler, to win that tournament. So he brought it.
He really
Impressive
burst on the
stuff.
scene coming out of LSU, playing in the final group like with Tiger, or I think it was at the Valspar whenever he first came back. Like he came out so hot, and we're just like, because I was right after Smiley Kaufman too. Spieth was in the mix all the time. JT was rising. We're like, who are these young guys? Like these guys,
All these guys
because
were
this,
rising. Our podcast was going down.
yeah, tough for everybody. There, correlation is not equal causation, T-Bone, but
Mhm.
I was actually reading up on something and everybody was like, is because they're specifically talking about Ricky Fowler and Jason Day. And they're like, is this back 2015? These guys are, Jason Day, he qualified for the Masters now. Ricky's not in the Masters yet. He could, unless he wins at the Valero this week. So, because I think it's world ranking points. I don't think he's in the top 50 anymore. But Ricky's only 34. Jason Day, this was surprising to me. He's only 35. At one point, that was considered the prime of a golfer was in your mid 30s. That's when you go win your one or two major championships. And then, as we discussed, all these young guys, even Ricky Fowler, Jason Day, back in 2015, they they really help change the narrative. Even Scheffler, Will Zalatoris, these guys are like, hey, you might be in your young to mid-20s, but you can go out and win major championships. I guess what I'm getting at is that let's not forget about the Ricky Fowlers, the Jason Days, even Justin Rose, who we touched on, who is playing some better golf this year. And he's even into his 40s now. So guys like Ricky Fowler and Jason Day are going to be relevant for the next 10 years plus.
Yeah. No, I think it's impressive the turnaround from both of them because it was looking dark for a while. And I'm probably a little more confident in Jason Day than Ricky at this point. But I mean, the fact that they've made it this far, I think it's looking promising for sure. And still a lot of good golf left, a lot of good majors left for those guys. So uh,
Definitely.
yeah, it's been impressive and good to see. Jason Day always plays good at the Masters, so that could be real interesting.
I think that'll be a good value pick for the gambling people and those who are planning their pools together because
Yep.
Augusta less than 2 weeks away. Come on, let's get through Valero. Which, speaking of Valero, don't really have much of a preview. TPC San Antonio, I think it's a pretty well received tournament just in general. I think it helps some of the guys tune up for Augusta. Now, because the Golf Club of Houston and the Houston Open used to be before the Masters, I don't know if that necessarily sets them up as well as the Golf Club of Houston did or Redstone as it was before. But I think people still like it. A couple of years ago, Corey Connors won that tournament. He ended up having a pretty good finish at the Masters, and that really propelled his career moving forward. So it's good for the city of San Antonio, and I think it'll be a good week. There's not really necessarily a bad week on tour. There might be a little bit of a stretch, but where it's a little boring. But with Augusta right around the corner, this is still in a really exciting time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean the Masters commercials are becoming more and more frequent. Um,
Hey, shout
I
out to
can't
the
believe
Masters
it's
social
this close.
media.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's
So
been
good.
great.
So good.
Yeah,
Sorry, what'd you say there?
no, no, no. That was it.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't
T-Bone,
know.
I think let's transition to some golf gossip right now. And we touched on this whenever we first revamped the pod. It's hard not to talk about Live every single week. And I think we've done a pretty decent job of bringing it in when appropriate. And I think this is another one of those times. So it's not necessarily really juicy golf gossip, but I think it's worth noting that this last week on the Foreplay podcast, Thomas Pieters went on the Foreplay podcast. And obviously, that is one of the most popular golf podcasts out there. Barstool, the whole brand, everybody knows them. Pretty much everybody we know is a big fan of them. And they do some really great work. Thomas Pieters was the first live tour player that they have had on the podcast. And Thomas Pieters just made the jump over to live. And here's where, it's definitely worth the listen. So I really recommend everybody go and listen to it. It's about 45 minutes. And it's really interesting getting every player who's jumped over to live has had a different reason to go. And one of Thomas Pieters' points, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a few days since I've listened to it, and I should have taken notes. He was lonely on tour. Now, I wanted to bring that up because being a PJ Tour, a traveling professional is very lonely. He's a father now, and especially with him being international, it's tough going back and forth in between Belgium, which is where he's from, and the United States to play on tour. So I don't know if he necessarily is the best representation as to why a majority of people have jumped over to live because of him being an international player. And really, he didn't play on the PGA Tour that much. He played a lot more of the DP World Tour over in Europe. So that's definitely worth noting. But it's, again, great interview. And really kind of gave me the perspective of every person has their own reasons to go. We heard DJ's reason in a full swing. We heard of Phil's reasons, whatever they be. I think that's a bit more convoluted, but I think that's a good representation, though, of why a lot of international players have gone over. And then we've also seen why not only a lot of international players, but older international players who just want to go get that bag hey, like respect, go get that money while you still can.
Mhm.
But I think so. Again, it's worth noting that they were the first that Thomas Pieters was the first live tour guy to go over to do a full interview with them. I hope more do, because I would love to hear different perspectives on the live tour, even just kind of the ins and outs of it. So I don't know if you have any thoughts. I know you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but just your thoughts on them, which is interesting because Thomas Pieters, not many people know much about him. I feel like, at least outside of golf. Like, I'm sure the regular golf media knows more about him, but it was interesting hearing his approach.
Yeah.
And I get it. I appreciate where he's coming from. His point was, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy and playing on the live tour. It can't, without saying it, maybe he did, but this is one of my takeaways. Liv is really going to try to pursue international tournaments. No, they're still pretty heavy in the U.S., but I think one of their goals is to make it more of an international tour.
I'll definitely have to give that a listen. And all the listeners, listen to ours first, of course,
Duh.
before you listen to that episode. But I think that makes sense. And you look at a lot of these teams, and I forgot we didn't review the last two episodes of Full Swing, but one thing to note there is, I mean, Mito Pereira and Joaquin Neiman, they're really good friends. You got to see that in the last few episodes of Full Swing, and it kind of makes you wonder that they're probably lonely. They probably don't have a lot of friends, and I think the idea of them being able to kind of be a team, travel together, hang out, all that stuff would be fun. So I think that could be a good reason for a lot of those guys. I've also heard that Keegan Bradley has become really lonely because his like travel buddy and who he got meals with and hung out with, practice rounds, all that stuff was Brendan Steele, who recently moved. So I guess that is important to a lot of guys. I do also think golf is such a individual sport that I think probably the like real I don't maybe killers you want to call it, guys that are you know not veterans or really all that matters is winning majors like Scotty, you know, even in the Netflix show Full Swing, Morikawa always talks about, he's like, I couldn't imagine, traveling with my family like Finau, and it's like my business, my golf game's my business, all that stuff. So I guess it depends. Being a foreign player makes sense, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I think there's still so many uncertainties and more cons than pros with live, but there's still a lot that's got to play out. But I think that's a fair reasoning why you'd want to go over to live. So
Yeah. And also, another golf gossip, you know, do you think that all the live guys who are playing in the Masters, DJ, Sergio, Bubba, etc., are they going to be wearing their live golf team
oh,
t-shirts?
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, that was an interesting topic of conversation on the interwebs this weekend. And I think they will. And I don't know how people are going to receive it. It's going to be it's going to be a big deal because people are going to make it a big deal. But, look, what you wear at the end of the day doesn't really matter unless you're like Tiger or Nike or Spieth and Under Armour. But it's an interesting topic for sure.
Yeah, I really hope not. I really hope not. But it sounds like they will. I mean, they've got a part to make this an incentive to make live work. So they might as well. I mean, they're losing their sponsors. What do they have to lose?
Yeah,
Their
like
their their reputation, which is kind of already gone.
yeah.
Might as well.
I don't expect DJ to be walking in with an Adidas shirt on. So, yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing, Augusta National can do whatever they want. It is their golf tournament. So if they were to come out with a rule, and it's one of those, they wouldn't announce it, I don't think. They would probably tell the players in advance
Yeah.
quietly. And then, of course, people are just going to naturally pick it up when they see Sergio Garcia and Bubba Watson wearing their team and DJ not wearing. Yeah, so it's gonna be
I
interesting.
know it
It's
would be
cause
so
a
awesome.
story. It's gonna be a whole
It would
thing.
be so awesome if they packed all their shit and they get there and tell them. Then they just got to wear like Masters stuff from the pro shop. How awesome would that be?
Oh, like the amateurs?
Yeah. They're wearing
Yeah.
like 2023 Masters tournament hats.
Yes. That would be
That would be
so
awesome.
great.
Yeah. Um, I just remembered some golf gossip that's
Yeah.
reoccurring from probably 2 years ago.
Let's hear
I
it.
don't have all the details, but I just remembered it. So I can't remember the original gossip, but it was with uh, a, a past suspect, Holly Saunders. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Holly Saunders,
Woo.
she was a bombshell babe, college golfer from Michigan State,
I
joined
believe
Golf Channel as an analyst,
I
and
believe
ended
it
up.
was related to Cliff Kingsbury when he got the job with
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Arizona Cardinals.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. So, um, prior to Kingsbury, she had an affair uh, with a anchor on the Golf Channel who I think had a family. I think she kept her job. He got fired. I haven't seen the guy since. And ever since then, she's kind of gone off the rails. I guess there are rumors of her dating Kingsbury, but if you look at pictures of her now, she is plastic from head to toe, looks like a robot. And she was dating I think married to a famous gambler, but now I think she's dating Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer.
Yeah.
But anyways, why she was recently in the news was because she's starting a women's topless sports league. I don't I don't remember what sport it is, but there's reports that she's starting a women's topless sports league. So
Her post was very racy. I think that's a good word for it.
yeah, I
Let's
would
just
say every post is racy with her. It's she's gone off the rails.
She doesn't
I don't
leave
know
much
how.
up to the imagination
Yeah, yeah, give her a look on Insta.
at your own risk.
Yeah, but I thought that was interesting. I'm not sure what sport it's going to be. Maybe the CW, then get a TV contract with the CW for a sports league, can play, after live golf tournaments or something. But
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
see.
looking back here as venturing back into the sports world. I think yeah, new top of sports league. Man, yeah. Um, man, what an interesting progression of career, I would
So
say.
I guess if let's say it's a golf league, I guess Augusta wouldn't allow the players from that golf league to wear those uniforms to
No,
the women's to the
no.
women's amateur this week. I think Liv might have a little bit better chance of wearing their uniforms over Holly Saunders' league, but yeah, we'll see.
Man, I forgot which podcast it was, and it was maybe a couple years ago, but I heard Holly Saunders on a podcast, and this person was talking about asking her why, especially with the rise of like OnlyFans and just Instagram in general, women like Holly Saunders are capitalizing on their looks, right? And hey, like more power to you. Like again, kind of like the Live guys, go get that bag while you can, at least, right? It's very interesting. Like she wouldn't be venturing out to this if there wasn't a market for it, which I guess there is. I won't be tuning in. No, I probably won't. No, I will not be tuning in for that. But it's definitely interesting getting back into the sports because she kind of was. That's how she got her start, and then got out of it, and then is merging her two previous careers into one now.
I think she's having a mental breakdown, but I don't know.
It's
She
interesting.
it's
It's
a
kind of
different
like
person.
that. It's like that football league where like it was women playing in bikinis,
Yeah, yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. She said, "Hold my beer."
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I saw that in the headline, so I thought that would be a nice reoccurring golf gossip, and we'll see where that one ends up.
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. I really don't. But yeah, it's anyway. I'm good with moving on. If you
Yep.
are. Okay.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. So that moves us to top five now. T-Bone, as we previewed at the beginning of the episode, top five best public courses in the city of Houston. Really excited about this. I would say compared to what we did last week, talking about the private courses, which I'll put in the link in bio and then probably right here as well. We played all these courses more often than not. So it's going to be really exciting to break this down. I've been looking forward to it. And I think I would say public golf in Houston is good, not great. Those are my initial thoughts. Now, there's been a couple courses that have been redone, such as Memorial Park and Gus Wortham, because those are actually owned and operated by the city of Houston. But, Houston's so spread out, kind of like the private clubs. A lot of them are out in the suburbs, but I'm looking forward to this. It should be a good list.
Yeah, this is my list. I'm the unofficial official public golf chairman of 300 Par Pod, I would say. KJ was playing private courses for years, even when he wasn't a member. Um,
For way
he was
too long.
yeah, and I think you only play when you get an invite to a private course. So I'm out there. I'm grinding, hitting the plastic range balls, you know, doing the dirty work, scoping all the spots. So I need to have a good performance. I lost the last one based off of the voter poll or viewer poll, whatever you want to call it. So looking to rebound here.
Yes, that's why you need to go follow us on our social media platforms at 300 Par Pod, number 300 Par Pod, Twitter and Instagram. T-Bone's been doing a great job of getting a poll out, reviewing our top five on Instagram. You can go vote on that. And yeah, it was, as I predicted, it was close last week, but I pulled away with the victory. So shout out to all the Instagram voters out there. And we are officially tied 2-2. Not the tiebreaker yet, because we got a long way to go. We're going to be doing this for a long time with a bunch of various different topics. So also comment below with a topic that you would like for us to cover. Maybe next week we'll do top five Masters moments. I don't know, just throwing that idea out there. But we got some good ideas. So that being said, let's break it down. I went first last week. So T-Bone, you get the first overall pick. What course is your number one public golf course in the city of Houston?
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. Got to go Memorial Park. Post renovation, Houston Open. The practice facilities are pretty awesome. Heart of the city. I love going there. The demand for tee times tells you how great the course is, which could also be maybe a, a, a con of the course because they released it 6 a.m. 2 weeks before. So you want to wake up 6 a.m. and book a tee time 2 weeks in advance, be my guest. I mean, the whole city does it. I feel like I never get to play there, which sucks. But even just going to hit on the mats, I've run into ScottyTee unplanned a few times, going to Beck's Prime, sitting out on the lawn.
Great.
It's a pretty good experience. And then playing the course is even better. So got to be number one.
Yeah, no brainer. Number one, the redesign was fantastic, which was interesting because when we were learning that's where I learned how to play golf.
Yeah.
Them in the old Inwood Forest, if you remember Inwood Forest back in the day, I consider that's where I learned how to play golf. So definitely have a high affection for it. But during that time in like the late 90s, early aughts, it was almost kind of a punchline. Memorial Park was fine. It wasn't great, but they would always get it ready for the city championship when it was still being held there. But nobody was like, oh, I'm going to go play Memorial. I was like, oh, I just went and played.
I feel like Memorial used to be so expensive and mediocre, and now it's amazing and super affordable.
It's so true. That's well said.
And I almost wish it was more expensive so less people would play, but that's really my only knock on the course. You just can't play it. The tee times are so hard to get. But uh, I also remember you always telling me about Memorial Park, which I thought was hilarious. But the course was insanely strict with carts, and you could drive there as a 16-year-old, but you couldn't take a cart. So you had to be 18.
I forgot about that.
And it was like, are you kidding
Wow.
me? Am I allowed to take a push cart? Like, do I need to be 18 for that too? So that was another knock in the past. But yeah, overall, Memorial Park is the best. Um, I will say there are some holes that I kind of miss.
Mhm.
I it's still taking some getting used to with the redesign, but overall it's awesome. I love it. And the fact that the Houston Open's there, you know, I think it just shows. So yeah, that's my number one pick.
Great pick. Very, very deserving. For my first pick, I'm going to go with the Golf Club of Houston, the tournament course, the former home of the Houston Open, or rather the Shell Houston Open, RIP Shell Houston Open. Now just Houston Open operated by the Houston Astros, but it's definitely a bit more on the expensive side of golf courses or the public range. It's probably one of the most expensive public courses in town. But with it being like that golf course was built to host a PGA Tour tournament, and my knock on it for a while was that they revolved the course like grounds, punching, all that stuff. They didn't care about the course throughout the year because people are still going to play it, and so the course was not in great condition most of the time because they were focused on getting it ready that 1 week of the year. Now that the tournament's not there, I think it's in better condition all year round. And I went and played out there this last fall, and it was a great experience, good time. It's a very challenging, testing golf course. We played it a lot in junior golf too, and it's one of my favorites in town. I kind of forget about it sometimes, but whenever I do, I'm like, man, this course is awesome. So that's why it's my first pick.
Yeah, it's a great pick. The I think it's one of the best semi-private golf clubs. The member course is great. The public course is great. And the last time I played it, I was with these, I guess you could call them golf hardos that were in town for a golf trip, and
Okay,
they wanted to play it tipped out, and it was a beast
that's
playing that
tough.
course for the tips. But I loved the Houston Open out there. It was such a fun course, but it was really tough to walk, and getting out to Humble was like even worse. So
Yeah.
I'm happy it's close to the city, but yeah, public golf courses in Houston, that should be top of the list. So
All right.
good pick there. All right. I wasn't really expecting you to take that. And I have my personal favorite
Okay.
number two, but I don't know if
It better
I
not
guess
be what I think you might say. If no.
I want to stick to my guns and not think about the viewers. So yeah, got to go Gus Wortham number two. Um, it is one of my favorite courses to play. It every time I go out there, I look at the grass, the greens, the tee boxes, and I'm just thinking this could be a private course. It's in such good shape. The one thing that sucks, and I don't think I've ever played at Gus Wortham and not hit a ball onto the road or into the Fiesta produce section, but some of the most intimidating tee shots back to back, oncoming traffic. I mean, I donate a Pro V to the Metro bus station there at least
Yeah.
once around. So
That
uh,
2, 3, 4 stretch is, if you're a slicer of the golf ball,
yeah,
whoo,
yeah,
stop.
yeah. I actually never played it prior to the renovation, and I think that's probably for the best. So I
Mm.
think it was a goat track in a bad part of town. That's a great golf course in a probably not best part of town, but yeah, Gus number two.
Yeah, man. If you would have told somebody that would have been at least in the top three best public courses in Houston, even 5 years ago, nobody would have believed you.
I
They've
know.
done and I will give the city of Houston a lot of credit for revamping Memorial Park and Gus Wortham. They just built a new clubhouse out there, so I think that's a great number two pick. If you weren't going to take it, then I was.
Yeah, that
And
makes
they
me
do a
feel
great
better.
job because I played the Houston Am out there a couple years ago. Unbelievable. They got
Yeah.
that course ready. It was, especially since it's a par 72, some of the par fives are reachable. So they made those into par fours, made the course really tough, actually.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my experience out there.
Yeah. Again, another knock, similar to Memorial. I mean, the tee times are just brutal.
Yeah.
So Gus is a little more. I don't even know if I want to tell people how to get tee times out here
No.
because but it doesn't matter. It's already ruined. So Memorial's 6 a.m. 2 weeks in advance. Gus is midnight a week in advance. So that's a little more reasonable.
Yeah.
But the other day I was logged on at like 12:05. Tee times have been up for 5 minutes. And I think the earliest I could get was like 2:30 p.m.
Wow.
the following Saturday. So it kind of sucks. I
Yeah.
love playing those courses, but a lot of times if you're not on it first minute or so, you're screwed. But yeah, Memorial Gus. I'm the municipal man to start off. So let's hear number two from Scotty T.
Number two, which if you want to call a flag here, that's fine. I'm going to take Black Horse. Now, I'm if you want to lump both in
No,
courses, or are you going to make me choose?
no, no. That's in terms of geography and both courses together, that counts as one. I think that's a great pick. It was one I was eyeing. So very
Yeah.
solid pick.
Both, I mean, they have the North and the South course there, both very solid tracks. I think the South course is generally considered the tougher one, but it's a great place to play scrambles. It's a great place to play individually. Big driving range. It's again a challenging, fair golf course, generally in good condition. It's pretty well run. So yeah, I think Black Horse is very well deserving in this two spot.
Yeah, Black Horse is great. Again, one of the more higher priced places to play, but it has some really cool holes. Like I always get the 218s mixed up, but the ones it's kind of open and there's a lot of undulation. It kind of wraps around like a big ravine. You've
Mm.
played it before. I hope you know what I'm talking about. But
Yep.
no, solid number two pick.
Thank you. Number three.
All right, probably pretty similar. 218s, solid course. I'm gonna go Cypress Wood. Um, Cypress is
Man,
great. Traditions is even better. I think Traditions has actually hosted Houston Open qualifiers, Monday qualifiers before.
definitely.
Just give you an idea of how good of a course that is. Um, I used to play in Scotty T's played in a handful of the scrambles out there, which are great if you like to play in 8.5 hours. But yeah, I love Cypress Wood. Um, I think the name of the course couldn't be more fitting because you're just in the trees for every shot. No houses anywhere close. You're off the beaten
Huge.
path. It's very
Huge.
quaint. If you haven't played Cypress Wood, definitely go play Cypress or Traditions. And I want to say it's a tea time and you can play all day if you want to play 36 like me.
Yeah, I think technically you're not supposed to, but yeah, people don't really care. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, I mean that traditions course is very underrated in my opinion. Again, no homes, and even the Cypress course is great too. But yeah, traditions when they if they get the conditions right, the greens can be kind of iffy sometimes out there because again, the tall trees blocks a lot of the sunlight, can make the grass die on the greens. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's great. Love it out there. Love it. So, in my opinion, those are clear cut top five in Houston. After this is where it gets a little more nuanced. So I'm gonna bring one out here that you may not be expecting, T-Bone. Number three for me, I'm gonna go Meadowbrook Farms in Katy. Meadowbrook Farms is Greg Norman design. It's it's a really interesting golf course that it's pretty good for the common man, but in order to go low out there, you really got to be on. It's really tough. There's a bunch of marsh and big ditches and everything. Again, good driving range, nice amenities, and Meadowbrook Farms. It's one of those I always constantly forget about too because it's not.
That
We
was
don't really
nowhere on my
have it.
radar. That was
Yeah,
nowhere on my radar.
but dude, you go out there, you're gonna be like, "Whoa, this is pretty nice." So yeah, Meadowbrook Farms coming in hot, number three for me.
Yeah, no, it's a great course. Wasn't even thinking about it because we talked about like Houston golf courses. I don't think we could really make a list on that. So we
Yeah.
got to branch out a little. And speaking of
You're
branch,
right. We should have specified Greater Houston area.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna test the limits with the greater Houston area for this pick. Haven't played this since high school, and I don't know if I'll play it again, but it's just never on my radar. I never want to drive that far. But I'm gonna go High Meadow Ranch. I think that's a super unique golf course.
Wow.
I think it's the only golf course I've ever played that has three six holes
Mm.
bunched together, like the scorecards even bunched together like that. But they have some insanely tough holes out there. Again, you kind of feel like you're out. There are, some holes lined with homes, but it is a very remote
Mm.
feeling golf course, very strong test of golf. And that was kind of one I was thinking about, frequent high school stops, and I always enjoyed playing out there. So I'll go High Meadow Ranch.
That course can be relentless, actually. If you're not on, it is an absolute beatdown of a golf course. It is great. That wasn't on my radar. That's a really good pick.
I remember his hole, it's either hole one or hole 10. It's right by the clubhouse. And there's a green that's like the most two-tiered green I've ever seen. And I
Mm.
swear I would always hit it on whatever side the pin is not on. Just auto three putt. So
I
yeah, we'll
remember
go.
I remember High Meadow Ranch was the first 18 holes I walked in a golf tournament. I must have been like 13 or 12 or something like, or I don't remember, but it was like one of the first HGA 18 hole tournaments I played in. And that's a golf course where those holes are not close to each other in between. And I was dying. I remember yelling at my dad, "How do people walk 18 holes? This is awful."
Yeah, there's some undulation out there. Well, few hills. That's a tough one, but great course. Great course.
Yeah, it sure is. Man, that's a good one. So for we're on number four, right?
You're
Already?
fourth. You're fourth.
Number four. And this is what's tough, in my opinion, because a lot of it does revolve around how good of a condition the course is in. Public courses are tough because they generally just get more play. So it's harder to keep courses in nice condition, or maybe don't have the funds as well to keep it up to date as it probably should. But when this course is in good condition, it is severely underrated. I'm gonna go Tour 18
Mm.
up near Humble, near the Golf Club of Houston as well. But Tour 18, it kind of sounds like what it says. It's an 18-hole course comprised of some of the most famous 18 holes in America. Maybe not just America. Is it the world? It's very recognizable holes. Like they have Amen Corner, they have 17 at TPC Sawgrass, they have the church pews at Oakmont. So it's
Mickey
all,
Mouse hole.
yeah, the Mickey Mouse hole. When that course is in good shape, man, it is really fun to play, to experience those types of holes too. So yeah, Tour 18 gets the nod for me at number four.
Yeah. Every time I play it, it's in great shape.
Mm,
Um, and I think there's some pretty realistic comparisons to the holes they're modeled after. So I love
definitely.
that pick. Love that pick. All right. To wrap up my top five, I'm gonna go with one that could lose me the draft because I don't think anyone really likes this course. I play it all the time. I don't know if I really like it. I'm gonna go Wildcat.
Oh man, Wildcat. All right,
Wildcat
boy.
number five. It's so the thing about Wildcat, if I ever have someone in town or someone's visiting, they're like, where should I play? I'm like, go play Wildcat.
Mm,
Play Wildcat Highlands. It's on a landfill. You get the cool view of NRG,
true.
uh, super links, super, hilly, different slopes, lies. But I will tell you, there's probably three holes on both of the 18s, two on Highlands, one on Lakes, and they're some of the worst designed holes I've ever played. I hate them, and it almost ruins the golf experience for me. But uh, the but overall, it's a fun course. It's reasonably priced. You can definitely get tee times, and it's definitely unique. If I had to play it every day or as my home course, I'd kill myself. But um, I like Wildcat from time to time, and definitely something I couldn't play every day. But also good proximity to the city, so it's a Houston golf course. So
That is
Wildcat,
true. See, in my opinion, I think it is severely overpriced.
yeah,
It's over $100 to play before noon on a Saturday.
yeah.
Like, all due respect, the Wild, look, they're charging that much because they can get that much because they're like the unofficial golf course of all the Houston sports teams: Astros, Texans, Rockets.
That's you haven't played there in years. I'm sure that's long gone.
I think they're still technically there, but like,
Well, it
look,
used to be on like every flag.
I'm not seeing JJ Watt at Wildcat, right? Or
Man.
Jose Altuve or any of those guys. Like, I'm not seeing
Maybe
them at Wildcat.
maybe oh, do you know who was out there? I had a buddy playing at Wildcat and he saw Deshaun Watson when he was suspended playing Wildcat. So
Really? Well, let's just say he had a
so
lot of time to play golf at that point.
that's not the partnership that Wildcat was looking for when they were expecting all the athletes out there. But
He probably
hey,
wasn't welcome on the private courses. That's why he was there.
yeah, yeah. So
I will say too, I do have an affinity for Wildcat. It was the first course I broke 80 on.
I think it was mine too. I
Yeah,
think it was my first course too.
it was the Highlands. I broke par on the Highlands for the first time. So I do have an affinity for it in that regard, but I swear every time I play there, I almost get hit with the golf ball because it's the only like link style course. And man, I every time there's a golf ball that rolls up by my feet because people can't
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. I almost got hammered last time. Um,
I'm good
also,
for like once a year round out there.
if it's a hot summer day too, I mean, you're getting roasted.
Brutal, brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, bring us home, Scotty T.
Yeah, I don't hate Wildcat at number 5 there. I think it is deserving, but if that would have been honorable mention, then I think that would have been appropriate as well. So for my number 5, dadgum, I might get some heat for this one. And
I
this
think I
might
know what you're gonna pick. I
this
think I
might
know what
be
you're gonna pick.
what?
I think I know what you're gonna pick.
I don't know if you will. Oh man, I'm second guessing everything, but I'm just gonna pull the trigger. I'm gonna go Cinco Ranch.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say Sharpstown.
No,
Uh,
absolutely not. No chance. No chance. My
uh,
dad almost got in a fight out there, actually. My dad's like the nicest guy in the world. So that's no chance.
uh,
Yeah, Cinco Ranch. It's a good muni course, I would say. Solid. Again, you got to get the course in the right shape at the right time. T-Bone, I don't know if you like it because that's where you lost and had to do the dress round. When Kyle's in the
oh
boot and still
man.
beat you, even though you shot what, 76 or 77? Like,
Yeah.
so
Or
I
was
don't
it
know if you
nine? No, it was 18. Yeah, I broke 80, and I was just like, what the hell? Um,
but
yeah,
there's some good
it
holes out there that demand good shots, and but it's also a fair. There are some easy holes out there too where you can go low. So
yeah,
yeah, I think Cinco Ranch, if it's going to be anywhere on the list, it's going to be number 5.
yeah. Very mediocre in my book. I think of it as a suburban area neighborhood golf course. It's okay. Um, but it's a good layout. There's some fun holes. I think five is fitting. So
Yeah,
um that's pretty much all I had on my list. I think a few we might have missed. Actually, I think one you could have maybe replaced in my book was I like Cypress Lakes a lot. Um,
oh yeah. Touted,
which
they always had the tagline of the best greens in Houston at one point.
interesting.
But last
There's
time I
rumors
played
that
there, it wasn't great.
there's
Granted, I
rumors
will
that
say
it's
it was after the freeze in
okay.
21, so everything was shot.
Yeah,
So I got to
gotcha.
take that with a grain of salt.
There's rumors that they're turning that into a subdivision. So
I
I
did
don't
hear
know if
that.
that's true. That would be kind of a bummer. And then if we really wanted to stretch the Houston limits, Eagle Point, I don't know if we could really consider that one, Mont Bellevue, but great
Yeah,
course. Um,
I'm more inclined to include High Meadow Ranch than Eagle Point, even though Montgomery's probably just as far as Mont
Yeah,
Belvieu. Uh,
yeah,
so yeah, that's right on the limits. I don't know if it's worth mentioning. I don't know. That's a close one.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll let it slide. Courses I play a lot that I don't even think sniffed my top five are Herman and Jersey Meadows. I feel kind of guilty not picking those, but
You're fine.
uh,
I'm
what
looking at
else we
some
missed in Houston National?
Houston National is probably number one on honorable mention, or it's definitely worth honorable mention on the list. Bay Forest down in the ports is another one that is on most lists. I've never played there, so look, I'm not necessarily chomping at the bit to get down to the port. So, uh, Bay City. Let's see. This one has Wood Forest Golf Club.
Down that way, one I always hear good things about is the Wilderness. I
Oh, down
think
in
it's
Lake
in that.
Jackson.
Yeah, I hear that one's always great. And then there's
Lake
one,
Jackson's further than Mont Belvieu, though.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like there's one. Oh, is River Plantation a course?
Was that the one out in Sealy? They used to have
No,
like,
that's Stephen F. Austin.
okay, there was one that got destroyed by Harvey. Maybe it was out
I
there.
don't know if this is what you're thinking of, but one that would maybe be number one on my list. River Ridge
River Ridge. Yeah.
on the way to Sealy. That great course.
Yeah. That one's
I
gone
played
though,
so
right?
many tournaments there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a few years ago, I was driving back from Austin and I just was feeling sentimental and I drove up to the River Ridge, pulled up to the gate, and it's just weeds. And I was like, damn, hate to see it.
That's
Hate to
how I
see it.
feel driving past Bear Creek. Just a bunch of
Yeah.
field and weeds now. Dude, Bear Creek, the Masters course, it hosted the Big 12 championship at one point. Like,
Houston Open too.
and Houston Open, yes. And now it is a field.
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, that place was so damn bad for so
Yeah.
many years. I mean,
It's
Challenger was fun. Presidents, I think, is the worst golf course ever made. No bunkers, no water, just grass,
yeah.
straight, just. And then Masters was great, but always closed because of flooding. And then the flooding just continued to get out of hand. But
Yeah,
part
right
of me
after
is
they
sad about it.
redid the clubhouse too, Harvey just came in and destroyed it. So, oops. I want to talk about sunk
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah.
Maybe another one too that we both didn't consider, Augusta Pines. Augusta
Is
Pines up
that
in
public?
spring. That's what this list has.
Okay,
I've never
that should
played
probably
there.
be top five. You've never played there?
Never played there.
No, it should definitely be top five if it's public. That's like a
Yeah,
big miss.
man, we're gonna hear that from Preston. It's,
That's a big miss. There's probably some Kingwood area woodland stuff we're missing. Um, but is that Houston area? I guess, but
it's more Houston area than Montgomery.
yeah, yeah, we might be in trouble.
Yikes.
Uh,
But as we mentioned, there's outside of Sharpstown, Gus, and Memorial, a lot of these courses are out in the burbs. So maybe Quail Valley. I want to show Quail Valley some love too. They
hmm,
got El Dorado and what's the other one?
La Quinta.
La Quinta. That's right.
Yeah,
36 holes out there recently redid. No, I guess it's not recently anymore, but El Dorado they redid probably 15 years ago, and that's been pretty good.
I
So
caddied out there about last summer
okay.
for a buddy of mine playing I think it was a Texas AM or something qualifier. But yeah, it's we played a practice round out there. Pretty solid. Um, I played Sienna Plantation about a year ago, and it's an absolute dog track.
That's
I
too
mean that,
bad. That was a good
yeah,
that was a good track at one point.
yeah, yeah. That's been rough. I think Southwick is pretty bad. Um,
Or Battleground too.
Battlegrounds really bad.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Um,
It's interesting
but
seeing the ebbs and flows of golf courses because, as we mentioned,
yeah,
Memorial Park probably wouldn't have been on the list at one point, or especially Gus, but Battleground probably would have, and
yeah,
Southwick, obviously.
yeah.
So, Yeah, it's interesting, but I think we did a pretty decent job. Again, maybe Augusta Pine should have been on that list. We'll definitely double check or confirm after this that it is public, but let us know in the comments what we missed.
We also got like Glenlock Pines. Oh, and under that same umbrella, there's the new something pines that just opened up out in the spring area.
Yeah, so there's a new course called Highland Pines.
Yeah,
That's almost a little too new for me to consider. I did play it over Christmas.
really.
And I did. I went out there with a friend of the pod, Dumpy, and man, that course was absolutely spectacular.
Really?
It was amazing. It was expensive, but it was amazing.
I'll have to put that on the list.
Definitely. I would highly recommend it. It's out there. I mean, it's past the airport and it is for us maybe close to a 45-minute hour drive, but it is worth the price of admission, 100%.
Yep. Yep.
So
Cool. What's
wanna-
kind of what was kind of depressing about this top five was we could talk about it like way longer than we could the private courses. So hopefully one day we can flip that. But as of now, we'll be grinding at the munis.
Right. Hey, we are the man of the common golfer. So again, comment below or let us know what we missed. We love hearing from the listenership out there. And we appreciate you tuning in to this episode of the 300 Par Podcast. Again, follow us on our social medias at 300 Par Pod. That is number 3, 300 Par Pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere except Facebook, because suck it, Zuckerberg. T-Bone, I think that's all I got. Again, congratulations to Sam Burns. Valero Texas Open is this week, and we are just 1 week closer to Augusta National. Hopefully a video will be dropping soon, so go subscribe to the YouTube channel and click that notification bell to stay up to date with hopefully a good parody video. How about that? Good parody video, which we need to discuss.
Love it. Let's wrap it up with throw out a quick prayer for Ricky to win the Valero, get it to Augusta, and kick off the weekend. Masters Week.
I love that. Ricky Fowler, bring us home, baby. Bring us home. We will love seeing you at Augusta National because who knows, he could win and then wear that illustrious green jacket. Fantastic. T-Bone, final word to you.
That's it. Ricky winning Valero. Punching the ticket to Augusta.
Phenomenal. Well, that's all I got. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next week. Valero, quick recap, and then officially Masters preview where we will give our picks. In the meantime, hope everybody has a great week out there. I'm Scotty T for T-Bone. And remember,
little white ball is life.